Dear friends, clients, customers, business partners, associates, thank you very much for joining the invitation from Doha Bank Corporate Banking Department, which has given here the opportunity to share about a specific topic. Month back, we were sitting in our working group with our wholly owned subsidiary, Doha Bank Assurance, thinking about of how to encourage aspects about risk awareness. One. Second, as bankers, you as business professionals, we are all seeking to get rid of risk, to identify risk and to manage risk. So this is where we thought it could be a good idea to introduce you to one of the, I believe, commonly unknown, less known, but most interesting risk aspects of business life, which is the D&O insurance package, directors and officers insurance, which covers claims against managers and companies on liabilities or on claims which might arise from actions from managers and companies backed on their duty. Now that said, no details. The importance to us is to have here an interactive session where you get introductions through the business experts and then entering into a dialogue and into knowledge sharing session. Thank you very much for joining. Let me introduce you then to Mr. Brett, who is heading our our Doha Bank Insurance Doha Bank Insurance business, so associated company to the bank. And again, welcome to the session.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, so after Dag's brief introduction, I can probably cross out half of my introduction. When I usually get up at the podium, and it's quite often because we do use this room quite a bit, I normally just have a few slides up there and I just talk ad nauseum, and anybody that knows me, I can usually talk for about 45 minutes on nothing. So you're actually quite lucky. All I've got is one page here, and I'm just going to read off this. Okay, so good morning everyone, and welcome to another of the bank's knowledge sharing sessions. As you may be aware, Doha Bank Assurance Company, or DBAC as we like to be called, is a 100% owned subsidiary of Doha Bank. We are ISO certified and recently upgraded to a BBB plus status by Standard & Poor's. This was due to our more robust risk management controls, solid underwriting profits coupled with DBAC's extremely strong capital adequacy. So, just a bit of a blurb about us, because obviously I have to sell DBAC. We are a general insurance enterprise serving a wide range of corporate and individual clients in Qatar, with one of the Qatari general insurance industry's most comprehensive suite of products and services, claims processing proficiency, and strong financial strength. As such, we are able to facilitate the proactive management of general insurance protection risk for both our commercial, you guys here, and personal insurance clients. To that end, we're very pleased to provide this interactive session this morning, which focuses on directors and officers liability insurance, which, as Dag said, is mainly known as D&O cover in the industry. In a nutshell, this cover is designed to protect the management of a company from potential regulatory fines, legal expenses, or any other claims due to their decisions or actions taken within the normal scope of their duties. Okay, that was a mouthful. In closing, as you'd imagine, the bank has a sizable D&O policy due to its significant financial global footprint in a number of highly regulated and litigious markets, without which we wouldn't be able to confidently conduct our business. As this is a specialty line of business, DBAC is pleased to partner with AIG in respect of the provision and access of this cover for all of our clients. Could you therefore please join me in welcoming both Alex and Mohammed to the podium so that they can let us know more about the growing importance of this protection in our increasing global regulatory, compliance and governance landscape, and importantly, what it does and doesn't cover. Please feel free to ask any questions as we go along, as we'd like the session to be as interactive and informative as possible. Thank you very much. Alex, so Alex and Mohammed, both at the same time? Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Brett, Dag, thank you very much for hosting this. Great opportunity for us as a partner in your business as ARG with DBAC to talk about one of our favorite risks and products, direct office liability insurance. My name is Alex Blom, Alexander Blom. I get the opportunity to run the financial lines unit for AIG across the Middle East and North Africa. As AIG, we're a large international insurance company, and we offer reinsurance on a direct basis and on a reinsurance basis to clients. I've been with AIG for 5 years now, out of Dubai. And yeah, it's a very exciting part to be in the world, in the emerging market, to see the growth and interest in this line of business. Mohammed, one of my colleagues, part of the financial lines team, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And just to reiterate what was said, we thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to join us. We'd like for this to be an interactive session. So if you have any questions, any queries, please do feel free to ask. This particular topic, before I introduce myself, just one point. Although you've touched upon that, Doha Bank buys a D&O policy. This product is not just for financial institutions. Any company can buy it, and every company has some sort of exposure depending on the markets they operate. So just a bit about myself. Is that working? A bit about myself. So my name is Mohammed. I look at primarily financial institutions and special risks. I'm part of the financial lines team here, headed up by Alex. And yeah, we're very happy to be here and to talk to you about D&O. So,
okay. So here we go. So get this off here. Where is it? There's no button on it. Okay, leave it like that. So what are we discussing? So here's the agenda. We talk about exposures, corporate governance, what is D&O, as well known as management liability insurance, and what are the upsides? Why is it such a good product to have? And then we'll talk about how the policy works and claims. Like we said earlier, let's keep it as interactive as possible. So if you have questions, please don't be shy and raise this. So here just a little to get into it about, what is the liability and what is the exposure? As well, if you don't take decisions, there's also exposure behind of that. So just a little intro. So what's happening around the world? What are we seeing? What are we seeing here in the Middle East? This is, yeah, it's working. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a greater attention for corporate governance. Well, I'll dive into what we see as corporate governance and what our clients are doing around corporate governance. The world is getting greater connected. The globalization has been ongoing for the last 20 years, and businesses are more and more connected today than they were ever before. So that exposes business to international exposures as well. So while you have a business here in Doha, in Qatar, you can be dealing through a chain of a business cycle with all kind of different parties over the world. And then as well, litigation is increasing. So there's more need for contract certainty as part of the corporate governance, and there are more laws around it. And as well, international laws. See the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, an act from the US, where American citizens and American companies around the world, they can be pursued if they call an action as bribery. I think very recently, now it's been all over the newspapers with FIFA corruption. It's the Americans who come forward. And so clearly as a D&O insurer, as an insurance company, we were never interested to ensure fraud of individuals, but it could also be allegations. And allegation, that's something what we protect with the D&O insurance as well. The UK Bribery Act is similar to that. So again, English nationals conducting business in Qatar, they could be pursued by the government of England. So what are we seeing? We're seeing directors and officers. They're in a firing line. Of course, we had a few years ago. We had the financial crisis, which led as well to a lot of pursuits against directors of why did things go wrong and investigations. So we as an insurer we're seeing more increased exposures, and as well as our clients. So just to stand still with corporate governance, we hear it a lot. We read about it in newspapers. What is it? Yeah, it's the corporate governance is the governance of how to organize a company, and how does an organization, how does it reach its objectives. So the framework in place to facilitate to all the stakeholders and to make sure that the interests of all stakeholders, that they're being upheld, and that the framework is in place, that the directors and officers take care of those interests. And this is something, still a lot of companies, organizations can always improve on. And it can be boring, the word corporate governance is like, what it's about. But if for definitely for boards and for management, it's a very interesting, it's the way you organize your organization and you govern it. And around the globe, you see more and more emphasis on it, and the guidelines for listed companies, for the financial institutions. So as well, you're in Qatar, and this greater attention for accountability and transparency of the directors and officers on how decisions are made in the interests of the company. A lot of clearly all the organizations, the companies, they're there to make a profit, but they have to do that while caring and taking care of the interests of others. It's the accountability and the ownership in the process of corporate governance. That has led to increased exposure, and so that's why it's good in like a session today is where we're sharing knowledge. And as a directors and officers, businesses can make mistakes. It happens. They make mistakes, and they make mistakes with the funds of the shareholders and investors. That's not the end of the world. But so long they do it as set per the objectives and the strategies followed. It doesn't work. You lose money, or you hopefully you're going to make the money, you're going to make a profit, and you're going to grow the company, and you're going to make clients happy. But if it goes wrong, so long you're organized properly and you've informed all your stakeholders that this is what we're doing, there's not much exposure for you. Yes, you're going to lose yourself as putting money into the company or money in the organization, but the liability, which we'll be talking on later on, that's not where the exposure is for you there. So I think as well, I don't know who of you are here in a management team, but it's useful. We as ARG, we're a huge company with 26,000 colleagues, and as well how do we organize ourselves and how do we control the risks? So for us, a good framework is very important. So as well, in the MENA board, we go through how we're organizing, how we're taking decisions, and it's for me it's the only way. And clearly we understand the businesses are different here in the Middle East, and there are different ways to do business, but